The mighty industrialist, a man feared and revered, met his end not in the boardroom, but in the dead silence of his private office. His lifeless body told no tale, but the shattered glass and a cryptic bloodstained note screamed of secrets too dark to surface. Detective Raghav, once celebrated for his brilliance, now walked the thin line between obsession and self-destruction. Haunted by a tragedy he couldn't solve, his next case would either save him or finally break him. The scene reeked of desperation, not of the victim, but of the killer. A symbol etched onto the desk felt less like a clue and more like a challenge, a taunt to anyone daring to seek the truth. Her presence was magnetic, her confidence disarming. Mira claimed to know the victim's darkest secrets, but her guarded smile hinted that she held a few of her own. Inside the cold steel safe lay a list of names: politicians, tycoons, criminals. It wasn't just a murder, it was a conspiracy stretching far beyond the shadows of one man's death. The notebook wasn't just a lead, it was a ticking bomb of revelations. Every page bled with the names of those who thrived in the shadows, untouchable until now. The symbol was no mere scribble, it belonged to a centuries-old network that thrived on manipulation, secrets, and fear. For Raghav, it was both a guide and a warning. Mira spoke of deals made in the dead of night, alliances forged in corruption. But as her words flowed, Raghav saw cracks in her armor. Was she confessing or redirecting? The digital breadcrumbs led to an empire built on lies and greed. The deeper they delved, the clearer it became. Someone was watching them back. Every step deeper into the slums felt like trespassing into someone else's territory. The ambush wasn't a random attack. It was a warning. Stay out or face the consequences. The journal spoke in riddles, but the message was clear. Arunapuram's elite were puppets, and the one pulling the strings had no intention of being found. The way she leaned in close to him, the way he nodded knowingly, this wasn't a casual meeting. Mira was either playing a dangerous game or switching sides. Her silence was deafening. For every answer she withheld, Raghav felt himself slipping further into a web he couldn't untangle. The deeper he dug, the filthier it got. The industrialist's empire wasn't just corrupt, it was inhuman. The voices of power conspired in whispers, plotting not just wealth but control, and Raghav was their unseen audience. She had risked everything to expose the truth, but her lies had made her the perfect suspect in Raghav's eyes. Every corner he turned felt like a step closer to the truth, or a step into a trap. The words hit him harder than any punch. Trust was a fragile thing, and his was about to shatter. The evidence was undeniable. But the name on the screen wasn't just a suspect. It was a ghost from Raghav's past. The man who taught Raghav everything now stood as his greatest adversary, embodying everything he once fought against. In the stillness, betrayal cut through the air sharper than any blade. Mira's gun trembled in her hands, but it wasn't fear. It was the weight of the choices she'd made. The mansion once stood as a symbol of wealth and power. Now it crumbled beneath the weight of their rage as justice and vengeance collided in a storm of fury. The truth had been uncovered, but not without cost. The city of Arunapuram had its answers, but Raghav's soul was now stained with the price of them. Was it justice or revenge? Her redemption was written in the ink of her own making as she faced the consequences of her actions. In the end, truth always found its way out. But at what cost? The shadows had faded, but their echoes remained. Arunapuram might have been reborn, but Raghav knew that as long as people existed, darkness would always linger. And so, his journey continued, alone but not defeated. The ghosts of his past, though silent, were never far behind. Raghav knew that the answers he sought had never been as simple as right or wrong. Some things stayed buried, but they never truly stayed gone. The city may have been at peace, but in the hidden corners, enemies still watched, waiting. As long as Raghav breathed, the game would never end. The silence that followed the storm was only temporary, but for Raghav, it was a moment to breathe, to remember what was lost, and to acknowledge what he had become. Mira's final words were not of regret, but of understanding. Her choice had led her here, but she had learned to forgive herself in the end. Raghav folded the letter, his heart heavier for it. The case was closed, but the battle never truly ended. Raghav had solved the mystery, but as always, there was a new one waiting just beyond the horizon.